Hi, it's Melissa Secord, National Executive Director for Celiac Canada, and we're out here in beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan today, and we're giving a tour to Member of Parliament Sonia Sidhu from Brampton South, who's an advocate for celiac disease, and letting her know how gluten-free grains are produced and kept safe here in the province of Saskatchewan. We're getting some great tours by some wonderful farmers and Avena Foods, so a big shout out to them.
To Farm Pure Foods at the time before it became Avena, and told them that, you know, that people with celiac would love to eat oats. It's nutritious, it's high protein, it makes better quality than the rice flour and tapioca and potato starch. And if you could grow it on land where there hasn't been any wheat, rye, or barley, and doing some on-farm pieces, there's a market for this. Yeah. And so they listened to us, and we shared the stats about celiac, and I talked about the diet because I'm a dietitian as well. And so they heard us, and 2 years later they came back to us and said, we think we're going to take you up on this. We've got enough interest from farmers that would be willing to do this. But, you know, we've got to develop protocols. And so they did that and started growing it. But the biggest hurdle we had was with Health Canada and CFIA. So we came up with a creative solution. Dr. Sammy Godefroy at the time was Director General of the Food and Nutrition Directorate at Health Canada. He said, wait a minute, I got a solution. At the time, the Minister of Health was Rona Ambrose from Alberta. It was right before the election in 2014, and 2015. And Rona said, wait a minute, there's a provision in the food and drug regulations that if the Minister of Health deems something as either a health risk or a benefit, or there's technology, they can do a marketing authorization. So you don't have to go through Gazette 1 and 2, because that takes years and years to change. And so she said, okay, what do we need to do? And so Dr. Godefroy said, well, let's set out a clause that if the oats are on especially processed, to no contamination, they can be called gluten-free oats. And that way we got it through right away, and it passed. And I was there with the Member of Parliament in Saskatoon. We made the announcement. We were so excited that now people with celiac could get a more nutritious product. This is a win-win for the economy, for the farmers, for the people with celiac. So we were very proud that CCA, Celiac Canada, was part of that chain to get it going in partnership with government. And so Dr. Godefroy was able to get that through. The Minister of Health signed it. You didn't have to go through all the hurdles you do for normal regulations, and it came into effect. And then all of a sudden, boom, now we've got products on the marketplace that say gluten-free oats. And then more manufacturers started buying from Avena, and other players in the marketplace came in. And so we can be really grateful for it. Started as an initiative right here in Saskatchewan, in Regina, with Farm Pure Foods, that then eventually became Avena, and Avena has expanded. I've spoke to their farmers about why you have to do all these things. You know, why do we have to go through all these hoops? Well, I'm one of those people you're growing for. I'm celiac, I'm a dietitian, I'm on the medical board. You guys are really helping this population. You're putting Canada on the map, and Avena is one of the biggest players in the world, and they are doing a fantastic job. And you're going to hear today and see firsthand what you are doing on the farm front.
We previously grew canola last year as an oil seed, so we can do good control of grassy weeds, including wheat. And the year before that would have been peas and oil seed, which is another good way to control the grass. So we do have wheat in our rotation, but it's 2 years or 3 years, I guess, prior to the oats being grown and harvested.
So the reason why you've been asked to do that is because you can get volunteer wheat from a previous year. If you had wheat on this field before you put the oats in,
correct,
this year,
you could get volunteer
wheat in there, and that's right. The risk of the cross contamination.
That's right.
Check for perimeters where they need to be. We're looking for any wheat or barley or rye plants. Walk through the field. We check, on the sides. Check in. Walk a little ways in. Check to see if we see any wheat or barley or rye plants, gluten plants, and then we're making note of that. If we've seen some, the reason we require that isolation strip, so say right next to Chris's field here, somebody was growing wheat or barley. Sometimes when they're seeding, whether it's even themselves, when they're seeding, their pass will maybe go a little over the
boundary line
where there should be seeding. It happens. So then all of a sudden, maybe this right here, you'd be seeing some wheat and barley in there. So our 3-meter isolation strip would eliminate that, one. Or two, if it somehow didn't, when we're doing our inspection, we would say to Chris, hey, we noticed there was a little cluster of wheat or barley in, you know, this area. Keep that separate. So then they'll bin that separately. If it, like, I don't know if it's ever happened with us with Halter, but just sometimes it happens, especially when you're neighboring fields, things like that.
Okay, so when we're harvesting here, we'll put it in a grain cart, which will then go into a semi, which will then go to a bin yard, and we have dedicated bins for the oats.